Oh, like it or not, it seems like this Madueke stuff is happening, people. Again, I'll back the player as long as you sign for my football club. I don't agree with your signing beyond being some level of depth and you being kind of young and all of that. In terms of goosebumps and getting to the next level, I don't see how you take us to the next level. Yeah, you can deputize for Bukayo Saka on the right. You hear that Arteta allegedly believes he can cut a future as a left winger, and I'd love to be proven wrong because this is either going to be my only hope is this is some stroke of genius from Arsenal Football Club. If not, despite what people say about this team spending that and that amount of money and this and that, when we have our little pennies, we need to spend correctly. Oh man, but let's get into it, people. Fabrizio Romano has kicked things off and said Arsenal will have direct talks with Chelsea soon to discuss the Noni Madueke deal. There's a gap in valuation between the clubs, but negotiations will now follow to understand if and how to proceed. Do we think, smash the like button, do we think this is a smoke screen? Do we think we're hedging our bets and trying to move for other targets and this is the last option? Do you think we approach this summer market with him in mind in the same way, maybe potentially Eze, definitely Sesko / Gyokeres, Zubamendi, Norgard, Kepa, Mosquera, who we're going to go over some stuff, etc., etc. Madueke has agreed personal terms apparently and has agreed a 5-year deal. If I'm him, I'm trying to get 100k, especially with you seeing Reece Nelson on that. And apparently we've made background checks and spoken to people who've worked with Noni Madueke and now expected to approach Chelsea directly. It remains to be seen if the valuation or background checks have impacted their interest. You never know. But reading between the lines, yeah, surely you would first, when you're looking at a player, you identify, like, let's just say we all know we need a winger, right? Noni Madueke has been thrown up in suggestions. Surely the first thing, beyond the obvious, like tactically, how good is he? How good can he be? How does he tie into the philosophy? All of the metrics, his strengths, his weaknesses, how we can take him to the next level, his experience, all of that is considered, right? Then you look at the person in which, obviously, mindset and all of these things go for stuff. Now, to be fair, you have seen a lot of stuff around, question marks about his attitude, around his work rate, around his consistency, around complacency on the pitch. But you would imagine those background checks have been done in it. Like they've been done. You'd imagine, we would have done that. Football's a small world. I'm sure Mikel Arteta or Andrea Berta or anyone on the recruitment side has reached out to either his previous club, PSV, reached out to England, maybe even asked Bukayo Saka, Declan Rice, and anyone that's been around him what the man is like. Then obviously it's progressed to personal terms. What sort of contract? What level of contract? Do you want to sign for Arsenal? Do you believe in the project? Can you see yourself mixing in, relating to him as a man, interests away from football? You'd imagine him and Arteta or a third party on behalf of that has done all of that stuff, to which the background check's been done, because then you've progressed it and agreed personal terms. Now personal terms have been agreed. Now it seems like we're speaking with Chelsea. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know your thoughts if they're different. I personally believe there'll be no problem agreeing something with Chelsea. We've got 40 odd million to play with for Madueke. They run around 50 and they're using what Kudus could potentially go for, what Alanga's gone for, and the current market. Now I think there'll be an agreement, maybe 45 odd million, maybe even 50 or whatever, people. And if I'm Chelsea, from a business point of view, yeah, we can say we're rivals in that, but we've been buying a lot of Chelsea's junk, so we're repeat customers at Chelsea. Now from a business point of view, you want to make a customer or a client feel valued, didn't it? We picked up Kepa, gonna pick up Madueke, got Sterling on loan, the list continues. So they might say, if I'm Chelsea, yo, Arsenal, have that, we'll take the little 5-10 million hit. We'll run PSV, whatever, especially with what you saw João Pedro doing the Club World Cup. Didn't they buy him for 60? You sell Madueke for 40, 50. You look at the true cost, that's about 20 odd million for João Pedro. And I would have preferred to go for João Pedro because I can see evidently how you tie into stuff, people. But I don't really believe it sounds all good, but these are things that typically happen. As you see in this headline, Chelsea braced for Arsenal bid for Noni Madueke, with North London club making background checks on the England winger. Club World Cup finalist planning to set fee at 55 million. You know what? Hats off to Chelsea. Chelsea are not ripping us off. We're ripping ourselves off if we're spending over 100 million on Kai Havertz and Madueke, even though I don't think Madueke or Kai Havertz is the worst of player. My frustration isn't with necessarily Madueke. I see how you tie in. I don't see how you're a level raise. I'm open to be proven wrong. My thing is, what we needed to do last summer, the evident areas we're missing, the game changers. Again, if you bring me my Eze and maybe Rodrygo and Gyokeres or some random Joe blogs, if you don't get Rodrygo, then fair play. But it don't really, it's not a level raiser, Again, I don't want to look at other teams. And we know City have fallen off a cliff, but City do have quality. They have been proven winners. They have brought in people in the last two windows. You know, Liverpool tied down Salah, tied down Van Dijk, replaced Frimpong. You know, finally given Arne Slot money to play around with. They've obviously brought in Verts and a couple of others. And if you forget the new additions, just think about what those teams have and what we're potentially missing. You've got to look at your competitors. I don't know how Madueke in his own right improves us. Yes, we saw Saka get injured. You could deputize on that right hand side, but if you get Eze, could you argue Eze's better off the right, let alone in the better off the right than Madueke, let alone off the left, etc. I do think, you know, he's 23. I do like his attitude weirdly in that he thinks he's better than what he is. I'd rather that than someone with all the ability in the world that don't believe in themselves. He is 23 and I will give him a chance, but it's nothing with you personally, Madueke. It's we need to find game changers, like level raisers, you know. And I know sometimes you got to be a bit cute and clever, bring in a couple of stop gaps like Norgard and things like that. And I know it's not FIFA, but we never indirectly create squad depth. And what I mean by that is I'm dreaming, but you know, if you go and sign Lamine Yamal, again, I'm exaggerating. Saka might become your rotationary striker. He's good enough to start at almost every club, if not every club in European football. If you bring in Eze, who could play off the left, he's a game changer. Even with Madueke, if he plays off the left, at this moment in time, hindsight's a wonderful thing, but at this moment in time, on the 9th of July, is he better than Trossard, Martinelli off that left-hand side? Or is it, it's all a bit of the same? I don't know, people. So we'll have to see. Apparently, we made background checks on Madueke. Chelsea are braced for a direct approach for the winger from the London arrivals. As we've said, he's agreed personal terms, people. We've spoken to people who have worked with him and done our due diligence. He's obviously rubbed shoulders with Miles Lewis-Skelly, Declan Rice, Bukayo Saka, maybe a couple of others, people. Mikel Arteta has, you know, can rely on Pochettino. They were teammates at PSG, so he's probably made a call there. This sound. I do think when it comes to Arsenal news, yeah, they make out that not necessarily Arsenal, but they make out that this is not the industry norm, or it should be the industry norm. Arsenal are now expected to approach Chelsea directly over Madueke, with talks up to this stage taking place through an intermediary, so the middleman. And I'm not going to lie, Madueke, your cameo off the bench against Fluminense was horrible, man. I'm trying to gaslight myself to believe in this. Madueke was left out starting 11, as we know. Chelsea are going to use, as we said, Alanga's move to Newcastle, which is a good signing. He fits Newcastle as a kind of yardstick and saying, yo, Alanga's gone for this. What are you telling us for this? It remains to be seen whether or not Arsenal are prepared to meet Chelsea's valuation, or whether any of their background checks have impacted the strength of the interest in the player. Maybe the background checks, but I think that's done. If we had any concerns, it's done in it. We, you know, even if you have concerns, I'm sure Mikel Arteta, Berta, whatever, somebody at some level has spoken directly to Noni Madueke and not been concerned about that. My only hope, and I know it's bad, man, is the sentence I just read, the first bit of this paragraph. It remains to be seen whether or not Arsenal are prepared to meet Chelsea's valuation, in which I believe they are. I hope we're not. Go and get some other stuff, man. Eze is better off the left than him. And Eze is not even guaranteed he can play in the 8, the 10, do everything. That's the kind of man we want. I'll give him a chance because at the end of the day, I can't impact stuff. But for what it's worth, Chelsea are willing to listen to bids for Madueke, even though the club have not made him available for sale or encouraged offers for him. They've obviously got Jamie Gittins, they've got João Pedro, William Estalvio, Cole Palmer can play in the 10 as well as out wide. And there's probably many more players than I could have said, people. Apparently, Chelsea want as many as 9 attacking players competing for places in the forthcoming season. I mean, with the Champions League and all of that, it's crazy. This might be a mad shout, and hindsight might make me look stupid, but at this point, I don't want either of these players. But could you argue Nicholas Jackson would be a better recruitment if we are to just shop in Chelsea's bin than Madueke? I'm just asking. He can provide backup as a striker. He can play out wide. I think I more know what I'm getting from Nicholas Jackson than Madueke. Noni Madueke, Arsenal are preparing a first offer, 40 million plus add-ons. Chelsea will push for 45 to 50, guaranteed with add-ons. The feeling that Chelsea is Madueke would like the move, so Chelsea will not block it. Yeah, that way. So yeah, apparently Chelsea have agreed, to let him go indirectly. Arsenal and Chelsea are to negotiate. Apparently, we disagree on the valuation, in which I hope that maintains, but that's typical business. You're going to disagree. You're going to haggle. They want a bit more. We want a bit less. And that's said for almost every transfer. But yeah, he's agreed a 5-year deal, apparently until 2030. He's understood to want to go play, can play off the left, most comfortable on the right. Wouldn't actually rule out him potentially playing in central areas at Arsenal Football Club, people. So yeah, it is what it is. He's got 20 goals in 80 games for PSV, moved to Chelsea in 2023 for 33 million. You'd imagine PSV have some level of a sell-on clause. Arsenal, is this the actual source of the article? Arsenal move for summer target has completely stalled after bid rejected. I mean, if you've got a car and you stall it, you just have to, find a biting point and move off. So there could be an element of stalling, but Arsenal will need to stump up a bigger fee if they are to sign defender Mosquera from Valencia. After talks between the clubs completely stalled, with the La Liga side demanding more than 20 million. Mosquera has already told Valencia he has his heart set on joining Arsenal this summer. The Gunners have seen an offer for Mosquera 21 rejected by the La Liga club, worth about 12 million. Bearing in mind he's got a year left on his deal. And he's also being courted by Leipzig. And to be fair, I'd love to trump Leipzig just on because they acted up over Benjamin Sesko. He has 1 year left on his deal. Apparently, he was initially keen on extending his stay at Valencia before learning of Premier League interest, and their delay in tabling an offer has seemingly opened the door for Arsenal. Pardon me, his reps are understood to have already agreed personal terms. Apparently, Arsenal see the young defender as the ideal understudy to William Saliba. He's sold on a move to North London, and Arsenal will still have to pay a substantial fee, apologies, to get a deal done. Valencia are understood to want more than 20 million if they are to sanction a switch, and Arsenal's initial bid, again, keyword initial, so first bid, has left the Spanish club's hierarchy unhappy. A move for Mosquera would mark another significant addition to Arsenal's squad, with plenty of substantial deals already in the pipeline. Zubamendi's arrived, Norgard's arrived, talks with Victor Gyokeres are in an advanced stage. I don't think we're getting Rodrygo, but this has said there's a growing belief the Brazil international will become available after falling down the pecking order. Make sure you stay to the end because we do have some stuff to go over with Rodrygo. The important members of the Victor Gyokeres deal are still in Portugal after the situation got tense and Arsenal could not complete a deal with Sporting on Sunday. The Gunners will continue negotiations today and remain optimistic. Arsenal plan to complete Gyokeres signing within 2 weeks, according to this, before our tour of Hong Kong and Singapore, which correlates, to be fair, with what we're hearing around the striker pursuit. This is said Berta flew back from Portugal on Tuesday night yesterday after positive talks with Sporting. Negotiations with Sporting went well, and the deal to take Gyokeres to Arsenal will get done. Arsenal have offered 65 million euros plus 5 million euros in add-ons. Sporting are holding firm on a fixed fee of 70 million euros, but with a difference of only 5 million. It is a gap that will not be difficult to bridge in further talks. Arsenal are confident the deal will be soon completed, with both the Gunners and Sporting on the same page of wanting to finalise the agreement. We understand that Arsenal want the deal done before they fly out to Hong Kong and Singapore on the summer tour. I mean, it helps sell a lot of shirts. We all know we'll play AC Milan, Newcastle, and Tottenham, and then we've got Bilbao and Villarreal in the Emirates Cup, and then the season kicks off against Manchester United, people. So we'll have to see. Football Transfers has also learned Berta will hold talks with Crystal Palace on Wednesday, today, to discuss Eze, a British, I can't say his first name, apologies, but Eze. There have been multiple reports in recent days that Arsenal and Palace are in negotiations to bring the England international to the Emirates. We all know he has a release clause of 70 million euros, which equates to about 60 million. Plus, there's rumours of an extra 8 million in bonuses. Apparently, the two teams are discussing the structure of the payments. The player himself wants to move to Arsenal. What has this said with Gyokeres? Google Translate is not helping us, but it can't say anything different other than there's a 5 million difference. Gyokeres has done all he can for the move. Berta's over there in Portugal, and we want it done before pre-season. So I don't think we're going to learn anything new here. And obviously, negotiations took place last weekend. This is said Victor Gyokeres' move to Arsenal is at risk of collapse as the Gunners and Sporting are making no headway over a transfer fee. It's just not Sporting are tough negotiators. They got to save a bit of face, obviously, because of how things have gone. People, there's been claims of broken promises, gentleman's agreement. You know, Gyokeres kind of talking on Instagram, refusing to go back for pre-season. The agent, and it's a bit of a messy exit, which I feel sorry for Sporting fans because they've accomplished some great memories, but it does say that it's a 5 to 6 million euros difference. So anything can happen in football, but you have small hope that a resolution will be drawn. Chris Wheatley has reported Arsenal's deal for Gyokeres is likely to be finalised before the club's summer pre-season tour. Those close to the deal say it's at an advanced stage and expect financial issues to be resolved in the coming days, folks. Arsenal, as you know, are working on a move to sign Eze without a significant sale. We're aiming to pay different payments of 20 million to get this over the line, people. Andrea Berta is determined to make this happen, and apparently we've suggested a list of names that could be used as a swap deal. Apparently Eze's preference is to join Arsenal. Liverpool are lurking, people, so we'll have to watch that one closely. Josh Nichols apparently is the Arsenal player being considered as a make weight. Not sure on the credibility of the source, but there you have that. This has gone as far as to say Arsenal are close to an agreement for Eze, people, who once again 67.5 million, 68 million. You see a lot of what's going on. Apparently, we are understood to be offering an initial 45 million with the remainder, apologies, of the clause to be paid later in performance-related bonuses, which are likely to be easy to meet. One source told us Palace are in favour of this structure, and this was backed up by another source. No way of fact checking the credibility, but personal terms are not expected to be an issue. Eze is keen to join Arsenal and set to double his salary with a move to the Emirates Stadium. Fair play. Chelsea apparently have showed interest in Eze as well. Again, but it all depends, because this ITK has said, as of today, Arsenal have had no formal contact with Crystal Palace regarding an Eze fee. So it's a lot of whispers. In relation to Madueke, yeah, I'm not the biggest of fans of Bakayoko, but in terms of unpolished talent, surely it's better off going and getting a Bakayoko or a couple of the Monaco lads like my man Magnus Ashelushe, I can't say his name, then 45, 50, 55, depending on the Madueke stuff. Beyond Gyokeres, Arsenal exploring other ways to improve their attack. Arsenal see Madueke as a versatile player who can support Saka on the right, as well as providing an option on the left. Other players for the left wing spot remain under consideration. We have undertaken significant background work on Rodrygo and have held preliminary talks about a possible move. Ademola Lookman's been discussed. We know Anthony Gordon's a player that interests Arsenal. And again, there is a backdrop of how much our budget is depleted potentially with Gyokeres signing, and if there's going to be outgoing. So there's a lot of conflicting and consistent stuff being put out. Bayern Munich are apparently following Eze. We all know we like Anthony Gordon, who shares the same agent as Ranieri. Their agent was at London Coley, probably not to discuss Anthony Gordon, but probably around the contract of Ranieri, who apparently Arsenal are now confident that he's set to put pen to paper on a new long-term contract in the coming days. Nothing signed yet, but renewal now heading in a positive direction. Speaking of positive directions, not quite a here we go, but William Saliba has received a substantial proposal from Arsenal to renew his contract with the club. That's just as important as bringing in people. We all know the Norgard thing is kind of done. Rodrygo is drawing interest from 3 clubs, as it says here, in Arsenal, Man City, and Paris Saint-Germain. You could also throw Liverpool. Max Dowman wants to stay at Arsenal, and talks are already underway over him signing a pre-professional contract when he turns 16 in December. Great stuff, people. Arsenal have also been linked with Rodrygo more. Apparently, Arsenal and City sent scouts to watch him during the Club World Cup. I mean, we've got Fabio Vieira there at Porto. Maybe he was watching him. Maybe he was watching Fabio. I don't know. I spoke about this yesterday. Would not mind him at the carpet. Anyone having Osimhen? Apparently he's set to go permanently to Galatasaray, and apparently Juventus, where Vlahovic is concerned, they're set to rip up his contract. So I'm expecting some level of rumours with Arsenal Premier League clubs. Juventus determined to terminate Vlahovic's contract. The striker is eager to join the Premier League. He's reportedly hopeful Man United will make a move for him now that he's potentially available. I think he's the highest earner in Serie A, and by default the highest earner at Juventus following his move from Fiorentina, people. Apparently Rodrygo wants to stay at Real Madrid as long as he's an important player for Xabi Alonso and gets minutes. Now, important is subjective. Are you an important squad player? Are you an important regular? I don't know. It's a long season. This article is saying Real Madrid star places strict condition before agreeing to stay under Xabi Alonso. According to a report from AS, Rodrygo has made it clear he wants to stay at Real Madrid, but only if he continues to be an important part of Xabi Alonso's plans and gets regular minutes on the pitch. Despite being on the fringes of the starting 11, he struggled for minutes during the Club World Cup. The Brazilian is keeping his head down and staying prepared for his moment to shine, which again, there you have it. His situation at the club has taken a turn since the final stretch of last season. He gradually lost his spot under Carlo Ancelotti. Despite lack of opportunities and a goal drought, Rodrygo is not giving up. He remains focused and has been working hard behind the scenes. On social media, he's shown he is mentally ready and looking forward to tonight's Club World Cup semi-final against Paris Saint-Germain. He has not registered a goal contribution in months. His last assist came on April the 1st against Sociedad in the Copa del Rey, while his last goal dates back to the 4th of March in the Champions League. Since then, he has struggled to find rhythm and minutes. But Rodrygo knows how quickly things can change in football. A strong performance or a decisive goal could change everything. With potentially only 1 or 2 games left in this tournament, he knows it's his final chance before the season restarts to convince Xabi Alonso of his value. For now, he's not pushing for a move. He wants to stay in Real Madrid, but only if he plays a meaningful role. And tonight might just be the start of his comeback story. I mean, you never want to see anyone down in their luck, but an important role, it could be what Toni Kroos, Luka Modric, and Mbappe, all of them kind of guys do. Equally, it could be Brahim Diaz, who is an important player in the framework of Madrid, or what we've seen with Ceballos, but they're not starting week in, week out, if that makes sense. Obviously, you're seeing that they want to use Endrick more. They want to use, Diaz is apparently signing a new deal. Arteta is set to have a more significant role, and the South American guy, Argentinian, Mosquera, apparently he's figured to the plans as well as changing dynamics. He could be. I don't think Xabi Alonso will force him out. It depends on Rodrygo, and I think even if Xabi Alonso says you will get minutes, but maybe you won't be a regular, I think that's enough encouragement for him to stay. But what do you guys think?